Jared Ginsberg, Victor Green here at Class Act Sports. Vic, how you doing?
I'm good, Jerry. How are you, brother?
All right, man. Here to discuss Andrew Luck decided to stay in Stanford, stay in school, finish out his degree, and he's not coming out. That's a huge shocker right there, Vic. He's expected to be the #1 overall pick, staying in school.
Well, it's a big surprise, especially with the labor agreement and you're talking about the rookie scale for next year. He's standing to lose about $50 million. But you look at, Bradford coming out, Stanford his junior year. You talk about Peyton Manning. He went back for his senior year, and, it worked out for both players being picked first overall. You cannot, talk about the guy for wanting to get his degree. But you do be concerned or wondering, like, hey, $50 million is $50 million. Because what I understanding is the rookie for a first-round pick next year, if their scale come in place, it's going to be like a 3-year, $15 million. So he's staying, what Bradford got this year with like $67 million. So that's a big difference. So it's a little surprising.
I tell you what, Vic, former NFL safety, you were undrafted, but if you had the chance to come out of college, get your guaranteed money, no rookie pay scale in effect yet. Exactly like you said, he might be leaving a lot of money on the table. Now, he can always get his degree if he does come to his senses and does the right thing financially. Which might not be agreeing upon, with his family and what they want for him. If he does decide to change his mind, does he have an option to do that?
Well, I think he got a week left because there's a certain period that underclassmen have to declare for the NFL draft, and I think he has a week to go before he can change his mind. Willie, I don't know. He seemed very adamant in his decision to come back for his senior year. His degree seemed to be very much important to him, which you can understand. But, again, he's leaving a lot of money on the table, but you can't fault the guy for wanting to get his degree. He felt like it's some things that he needs to work on. They putting him in a Peyton Manning type of quarterback coming out. So that's real big. So he will, if he don't get hurt, he still will be probably the first quarterback or the first player taken in 2012 draft.
Well, you talk about if he don't get hurt, if he doesn't get hurt, you look at Sam Bradford. When Bradford was going to come out, went back to school, he did get hurt. He got shoulder surgery. He still wound up being the one overall pick, still wound up getting his money. It's a bit of a different situation because of the rookie pay scale, but things still worked out for him in the worst case scenario type of deal for a Bradford. But let me ask you something. Very interesting. Does Andrew Luck not want to go to Carolina? Is that what this is truly about?
I can't speculate for Andrew, but, that can be a concern. You think about when Eli Manning came out, he didn't want to go to San Diego. So that can play something in his mind. You got Coach Harbaugh there. What is that saying about him? Maybe he may come back and coach the Stanford football team next year and not go to the NFL. I've been, courted by a lot of teams right now in the NFL. So that may have a lot to play on that. So that needs to be played. Stay tuned for that as well.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's a great point. I was just going to talk to you about Jim Harbaugh. Maybe he's more inclined to come back. But what if Jim Harbaugh now bolts to the NFL? I don't think that he will. Now I think he's more inclined to come back. But what if he does? Where does that leave Andrew Luck?
Well, I think in the years that Jim have taught Andrew, I think he's learned a lot. I think he can take what he learned from Coach Harbaugh and continue to progress on his the things that he feels he needs to get better on. But again, that will be the same thing with Coach Harbaugh. He'll be leaving a lot of money on the table because I'm sure he's talking about $7 million for the NFL. I don't think Stanford's going to pay him that much. And again, maybe that, not a whole lot money for him and what he's making right now, but he will be leaving some money on the table. I think it will affect Andrew Luck because, they may have to change the system, new offense. How will he fare in that new offense? So it's a lot of questions that's going to come up if Coach Harbaugh decided to vote for the NFL.
In most situations, I'd like to think that Andrew Luck is making the right decision to come back to school, but you got to look at the bigger picture as far as the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, as far as what's going on with the pay scale. It's on. I could be wrong here. I think he's going to reconsider this. I think the right analysts and experts are going to talk to him and make him realize the type of money that he is going to leave on the table if and when, it's a matter of time, when the rookie pay scale does get put into effect. So I don't think that this is an end-all be-all. Andrew Luck not coming out for good, definitely not coming out. But I think, in fact, he will still come out, even though he's already decided not against it. But it doesn't really make sense to me, considering the type of millions of dollars, multi-million dollars, $40 million potentially he could be leaving on the table. So I still think he's going to reconsider.
And I disagree with that. I think him having another week to really mull over this decision and to come out this early, I think he pretty much made up his mind. And not to say he can't change his mind in the next week or so, but I think, and reading his quotes, he was pretty adamant about coming back to play for a senior year, to get his degree in agriculture, and he was very adamant about that. So I think he will stay, and maybe you get that financial advisor or that scout or the agent. He can't have one at this point,
right.
So he don't have anybody advising him other than his parents, but maybe they can convince him, maybe not. But I'm going to disagree with you that I think he can come back for his senior year and lead to Stanford to compete for a national championship for next year.
You know what? Rightfully so. You got to respect him for it. I'm not going to knock him. I'm just going to say I'm a little bit curious as to just, is it going to be worth it for him? However, I do think that whenever he comes out, he will be the number one overall pick. It's just a matter of what type of dollars is he going to get when he does come out. But I think no matter what, you look at Andrew Luck, he is a pro prospect, prototype NFL quarterback. I think he's going to be a great quarterback for years to come. And regardless of what happens, if he comes out, doesn't come out, I think the kid's got a bright future in the NFL.
There's no question about that. And even if he get hurt, like Sam Bradford did a year ago, I think he's shown enough in being that prototypical type of quarterback that he can play in the NFL. And if it's not a threatened career, injury,
right,
he should be the first overall pick because he's done enough to this point to solidify that he is the NFL top pick coming out next year.
All right, Vic, thanks a lot for joining us.
He will leave some money on the table, but if he's as good as they think he will be, then he'll make his money down the line. There's no question about it.
All right, Vic, thank you for joining us. Thanks for your insight.
And this is Victor Green, and you're watching Class Act Sports.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Deuces.